The arm of the Lord is not so short that He cannot save. He can reach to the furthest out there exile and say, I have a message for you after you sin. And I know that the church, I know as a pastor, I'm supposed to, I want to, tell people, no. But I've got a message after they do. It's not just don't sin. It's what John says in his first letter. We're not supposed to sin, but if anyone does sin, we have an advocate. His name is Jesus. The true message of the gospel is so much grander than morality and traditional values. And stop doing this and stop doing that. The message of the gospel is spoken to a group of people who right now, yes, are going to have the consequences. You know, we love it, don't we? You hear a story about someone who was a murderer and on death row. They get converted and now they're really wanting to serve the Lord. And don't churches even start praying that they'll get released and not be executed so that they can go around to churches and tell everybody I was a murderer but now I'm a Christian? Right? I mean, think about it. Yeah, oh, praise God. Well, yes, praise God. And I don't mean to make fun at all. I mean, just because someone has been in prison, to me, makes it no different than the prisons that you and I walk around. We just have visiting rights. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not, and you know, this brings the whole subject of the person who was murdered, okay? But please, just for a moment, leave all that aside and feel your emotion, because deep in your heart you know, wow, this person was so wrong, and yet they've been changed, and what a story they have. But why don't we, in our hearts, truly apply that to one another? To people who haven't murdered anyone, they just committed adultery, or that they stole something, or that they're a liar, or that they're a drug person, or I'm not very good with language, am I? Baker person, you know, whatever. Am I saying, hey, fine, whatever, knock yourself out, because in the end we all get out of jail free card? No. But that accusation is supposed to be leveled at the church. That's what Paul said. We're falsely accused. Some people say, well, wow, if grace abounds all the more when sin does, then I guess you guys can just go out and do whatever you want. That's supposed to be the charge against the church. Not a world that says, you self-righteous twits, get out of my life. Does this make sense what I'm saying? If I'm going to be indicted for something and be biblical about it, it's not that I go around telling everybody what they shouldn't do, and everyone knows me, oh yeah, well they're the community conscience. What claim is that? The church rises up and they want to talk about all these things that are bad and everything that everybody is doing. And how are we known? We're known as people who say, you better not blow it or that's it. And the story of Jeremiah, the reason that God didn't intervene with this great miracle before people suffered their consequence, is so that we would have a story as great as the deliverance from Egypt. Why doesn't this deliverance from Babylon ever get talked about? Because it's too confusing for religious people who think only in terms of right and wrong.